Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Bell, and I'm the head of media for the UN Development Programme. So we're here to discuss why and how the Sustainable Development Goals can benefit your business. The SDG is a framework that goes well beyond the net zero emission goal. This is a set of 17 goals. I assume most of you know about the goals. But what is really important in the goals is that it's a framework of interlinked, interconnecting goals that connects all the dimensions of sustainability. So quite a complex framework. And I have with me three leading companies, Julius, Baer, Lufthansa, and Nespresso. And they will share with us how they have embraced sustainability. But we're going to start immediately with the why. What is their motivation to embrace sustainability, and what is their commitment to the goal and to the Paris Agreement? So let me kick off the conversation with Claudia from Lufthansa. Tell us a bit more how Lufthansa has embarked in that sustainability journey.
Yes, good afternoon. Hello to everybody. My name is Claudia Hügel, and I'm within the Lufthansa Group responsible for the entire universe of ESG reporting and ratings, so to put everything on paper, what we do. The motivation for Lufthansa Group, I think this is a long time ago, even longer than I was joining the company, like 25 years ago. We established already our first sustainability report at that time. Even in 2002, we signed up to the UN Global Compact as, at that time, the first airline. And I think this is very important also to mention, our staff, especially our flight attendants and our pilots, they founded the Help Alliance, our charity organization, on their own. So I think it is sort of in our DNA within Lufthansa to look out for sustainability. But when it comes, of course, to environmental responsibility, it is very clear that in a very hard-to-abate industry, as the aviation it is our utmost responsibility, and it will be the license to operate in the long term. And I had the pleasure to be here yesterday when Robert Habeck made his speech, and I noted down his wording, and he said for him it is very important bringing business and climate action, and he pointed out action and not sitting around, really together. And this is when it comes to my personal motivation, I could work in a wind farm or whatsoever. Sustainability is, of course, a lot easier. But to do this in a very hard-to-abate industry, to find ways, to find solutions, and even, I think it's also not a secret that we are an easy target, so it's very often questions why you can still fly and emit so much CO2. And this is my personal motivation, to bring this hard-to-abate industry on a very, very sustainable road.
Thank you, Claudia. Indeed, it's not yet, unfortunately, business as usual. Patrick, tell us a bit more why sustainability at Julius Baer.
For us, it's a little bit the same. It's also in our DNA. I mean, our bank is 133 years old, so to survive, you have to be sustainable per se. So that's one part. The rest is a little bit a push and pull. On one side, very exciting is that we have more and more interest from client side. A lot of client segments, client groups. I think about the next generation. I think about female investor who have an affinity for sustainable investing. We have family office, we have foundation where you not even have to appear without a sustainable offering. So a lot of excitement from client side. We have also from the employees. I mean, we are elaborating sustainability frameworks, a lot of good ideas from the employees. So that's the exciting part. A little bit on the pull side, a little bit less exciting, but necessary. It's the pressure from the regulator. I mean, banking is very highly regulated. So regulator also puts on certain guidelines, certain pressure also to become more sustainable also in our processes. And then it's generally also the society. I mean, we have a brand, we have a reputation. So if we want to shine, you have to be sustainable today. So that's a little bit push and pull motivation we have.
Thank you very much. So we went through the motivation. Let's move into the how. How do we get into sustainability? Can you tell us a bit more where the coffee sector stands and how at Nespresso, where do you focus on to start with
Yes.
sustainability?
Thank you. And first of all, if you have enjoyed the coffee here, be aware you enjoyed the best coffee. Congratulations. Nespresso, we started 30 years ago. And since 30 years ago, we put immediately actions on circular measures. So we put an infrastructure in place, voluntary, working closely with the Green Dot and with each of the communities. 20 years ago, we discovered quality is relevant, so we started to work directly with farmers. Today, after 20 years, we work with 490 agronomists and 140,000 individual farmers, and we work on sustainable quality. Yeah? And the result is this one. You can see that each cup of coffee that you receive of Nespresso is the same as the other one because all the beans are equal. That is quality. And farmers providing quality will be able to receive from Nespresso a price premium. So 95% of the coffee we source, we pay above fair trade minimum price. A second benefit of having introduced Nespresso is this is 1 liter of coffee from an espresso machine. This is 1 liter of coffee from a filter coffee or a full automat machine. So you immediately understand that the precision consumption that a portioned system like Nespresso can be has a beneficial impact in reducing or using the exact amount of coffee you need. Now, behind all these coffees, there is 100 million livelihoods that we need to preserve. Because the reality is, in the worst case, we go to an empty cup. It's due to climate and poverty. The science says that 60% of the landscape where today coffee can grow will not be anymore there by 2050. Okay? So the challenge is huge. It's not an espresso challenge. It's a coffee challenge. And we are very happy to lead that journey. We are recognized as being leading, also due to the fact that we work across all the supply chain. And we do at each of these steps, starting with farmers, where the biggest impact is, where the beans are produced, but up to the circularity of the capsule. We work at each of these steps with partners. We cannot do alone. But we want to show the way for all coffee players because clearly we are able, through the model, working across the supply chain to show that way. And just to add, we want to show the way by having put forward a positive CAP report with a roadmap and a plan.
Patrick?
Perhaps you allow me a comment, because we discussed it when we prepared here. I was very surprised that they see that sustainability is a lot also in perception and in the brain. When we talked about sustainability in Nespresso, I always was thinking about the capsules. But it's actually the biggest potential is in the production process of the beans and not in the capsules. So sustainability is a lot of perception in the brain.
Absolutely.
And sometimes wrong.
But quite interesting. You talked about quality. I mean, reaching quality. You talked about efficiency. You talked about the survival of a business. You know, something that strikes me in all the conversation here is that it seems that everyone is convinced about sustainability and the need to embrace it. But how do we go at scale? And how do we go fast at scale? Do you want to, I mean,
yes.
Alessandro,
First of all, when we were discussing, at farm level, simple measures help. Just learn how to renovate a plant. For the agronomists, we can help at farm level. Yeah? On the latter scale, there is technology that can help a lot to improve on biodiversity. Biodiversity, regenerative agriculture is a must in our branch. There is where the impact is. We need to be fast. We need to go at scale. The thing we need is innovation. Technology-driven can help. commitment, transparent commitment, a transparent supply chain. If you go to our stand, you can see with open supply chain, we can make transparent the batch of coffee, where it comes from how many farmers, and if they were paid. That is very clear, transparency, and some sort of standardization, a common understanding. Now, the big challenge is to find, for each of these measures that are needed in the supply chain, is to find economic viable solutions, because each of the measures require an investment. I like to say, when you work on regenerative agriculture, you start by seeding, and you have the cost, the work now, but in 10 years, maybe the benefit as it grows and the yield comes. It's not like in energy, you put a windmill, you know what it costs, you calculate the wind plus minus, and there is a business case. So this lack of business cases, economic viability, is clearly one big challenge. And the second challenge is we need to be fast.
Yeah.
And,
maybe if I can jump in here, although we are in a complete different business, and so what we also realized, I think what you just described is the enormous complexity, and it's also that I think not a single industry or not a single company can do it on its own. Yeah, so we all need to operate in this huge ecosystems. I mean, when it comes to aviation, yeah, we are just a service provider. So we do not build the aircrafts. We do not produce the sustainable aviation fuel. We do not control the air traffic, so we are very dependent. And asking about speed, and we have to move fast, even if we are the most committed ones, yeah, we cannot do it on our own. And I think this is a very, very important aspect. And this is recognized within the SDGs. I mean, the SDG number 17, it's about partnership and collaboration. And I think this is also why we are all here together, to see also how we can help each other to continue and to speed up the entire value chain at the end of the day.
Can I prompt you a little bit? How do you influence the other part of the ecosystem to work into a single direction?
Well, yeah, that's really a daily routine. I mean, we are forever, I mean, especially in the aviation industry, we are really systematically linked to each other. Yeah. So, I mean, for centuries, for decades, I think we are working together with the aircraft manufacturers to develop even better aircraft for different reasons, because we have a highest interest that an aircraft is as efficient as possible. Right now, I mean, which is also a big game changer, will be, because you were talking about energy, for us, it's of course the sustainable aviation fuel, yeah, which is very, very little existing right now. So we do cooperate with more than 15 companies or startups, and you can see it here. We have also one of our stands here with the Santo Liquid, where we explain how it's working. But we work also together with politics, which is very important, because aircraft manufacturing of sustainable aviation fuel will still take some time. So it's not ready tomorrow. So we won't have a hydrogen aircraft before 2035, maybe even 2040. But what we can do now, for example, is to fly more direct. Everybody of you sitting in an aircraft, yeah, there are a lot of delays, and so the most efficient route always is the directest one. So, and this is one thing where, of course, we cooperate with politicians, but also with air traffic control, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Something also that I've noted in that meeting, obviously this is the GreenTech, so we talk a lot about reaching net zero emission, but the SDG, as I said at the beginning, is way more complex. So quite interesting to understand how how you embrace that complexity and how you go beyond net zero. I don't know if Patrick, you want to start?
Okay, I can say something about the complexity, because I mean, one of our main role as a bank is to inform our clients, to empower our clients, to give transparency. So I see, or at least in our daily work, we have a little bit 3 levels of complexity. One is the ESG. So I mean, the criteria, there are different interpretation, there are different indices, sometimes even contradictional. So the taxonomy, the EU taxonomy helps here a little bit to clarify things, but still it's, I think it's a way to go to clarify, to get more clear what it means, ESG, and how to apply it. Then on the other hand, you have the SDGs, which are global targets, very high level. I think also there it's not always clear what does it mean in the daily work, what does it mean in the business. So also there you need some interpretation, some clarification. There's still a way to go. And for us, very important is, and also when we talk to clients, is the bridge of each of the two. So how do we get from the SDG to investable ESG criteria? We try to do it, to bridge it with an own scoring system. So we have a kind of theme scoring system. So every investment, every equity investment, every bond, every fund investment, we classify according to themes. So we have a natural resource score, we have a human capital score, we have a climate score, we have a value score, a governance score, and so on. And this helps us a little bit in the communication to the clients, because don't forget, I mean, you asked before, what can banks do or what can we do to speed up? I mean, the banks, they have a big impact. I mean, there's a lot of capital to invest. We can guide, we can allocate capital. But at the end of the day, it's the investors' money. So at the end of the day, they decide where to go. What we can do is empower them, give them guidance, but for this they have to understand what we are talking about.
Do you want to say a few words about how you go beyond net zero? Like how you embrace, for instance, gender equality? How do you go for no poverty?
In our company? Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have a full transparent KPI set. Just an example on gender equality. Today, we working with farmers, we know on farms 33% are female. We want to go to 40% by 25, helping. It's not our farmers, and we want to go up to 50. But it's not only the percentage and the numbers on farm level. The biggest issue for women is the participation. So at farm level, we need to focus on participation, the latent participation in the decision making, in transparency on the financial of the farms. Yeah, we help them also building the financials of the farm. So said this, in the organization, it starts all with a clear, ambitious goal. We have defined 5 areas. Yeah, the most important being regenerative agriculture. That has a big impact on decarbonizing the value chain, where we go as second area in this roadmap. The third one is empower community at farm levels, and the fourth one is circularity. The fifth probably is the most important, inspire action. Okay, we are part of a B Corp. We are a B Corp certified company, so we always call for actions. And B Corp says to me, as a manager for Germany, we have 450 people, says to me, I need to put the planet progress measures in designs of products at the same level as the profit or economy and the people. And also for me, feeling that responsibility, it's not easy, because I get my daily sales institutionally, but my daily reporting is not there. What we get today is targets, bonus relevant targets. Me, my team, not up to the line. We started 3 years ago, and that's something that is happening, and it makes also joy for me to work on it with my team, that's for sure.
We're going to jump to the next question. Actually, I don't know how much more time we have.
So timing.
I want to jump into the question about the finance. We know that we need massive investment to achieve the SDG. So, okay, the question is for you. How are we going to finance the SDG? Are there any roadblocks? Tell us a bit more.
I mean, a part of it I said before, what we as a bank, we can definitely help here. We can provide information, we can provide transparency, we can put some incentives. We do also our own investments. So with our treasury book, for example, we can also directly guide. But the rest of a big part is empowering, and that's what we try to do. In our bank, for example, in Julius Baer, we have 450 billion, which we advise, which we manage for our clients. Today, it's 32% is invested in a responsible way. So this is quite the sum, growing fast. Again, we have also regulatory pressure, so I'm definitely confident that this number will increase. But it's still a lot way to do. And at the end of the day, finance is one thing. It depends what you do with the finance. So there also the industry has to play a role, because I mean they have to invent techniques. They come up with new technology and also new processes to be more sustainable. So it's a hand in hand.
And what is interesting is the other side of the finance part, which is in the hand of the consumers.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, I'd like to have a comment from all of you on how do we change consumer behavior so that they value quality? Any idea?
Maybe I just wanted to add on what you just said, because I think this is very important on the financing side. Yeah? So for us, I mean, we really need to be very transparent. You were talking about the targets. So we need to set clear and transparent targets at the end of the day, because if not, we're getting into problems to access capital. So we have also a very big role to play. And for coming back to the customer, the consumer, because at the end of the day, it is the consumer who decides whether he or she is buying a sustainable product at the end of the day. So, and I think we really need to take the customer onto our journey. Probably you do a lot of communication also on your production. And this is the same what we do. So we came up this year, mid-February, with like a green fare. So people have the choice to buy a ticket, yeah, or it's a more sustainable way of flying. So, and 20% of the ticket is being reduced by sustainable aviation fuel and 80% by compensation. So this is one way, but also, of course, communication. And I think communication is also a big part to integrate the customer.
Yeah, on our side, let's say the consumer is a stakeholder for us and is part of the need to solve that problem. Let's take a concrete example, recycling. Yeah? So we put in place globally 90% of the infrastructure with partner for consumer to easily give back the capsule. Yeah? Now we are at 30% return rate, increasing year by year. In Germany, up to 50. And here we increase year by year just by communication. But when we think of communicating, as we communicate directly with the consumer, it's not an email that we also might write, it's dialogue. It's dialogue, explanation. So I think to bring the consumer in, it's an effort, but it's dialogue, it's transparency, it's honest communication. We need to change from marketing approach to understanding. So it's honest communication that needs to happen. And also I would say more than incentivation, a call to action. Because I think we all understand that we do not have that much time. So I think just explaining, continue telling it on the street, wherever, but we need it. We need these calls.
There's on my side, there's in the Anglo-Saxon word, there's a saying which says there's only one boss in a company. It's the consumer. He can fire you, all of us, every time by just buying the products of our competitors. So the consumer plays a very decisive role. My opinion, and it's a little bit my personal opinion, I mean, you can give a lot of transparency with measuring everything. At the end of the day, it's excitement, it's purpose, these are the soft kind of things. I think we have to deliver more, pass more the message to the consumer, so that at the end of the day, he has no other choice than just going for sustainable, responsible, or whatever we'd like to call it, products. So
we're almost at the end of this panel. As a word of conclusion, I'd like each of you to give one advice to the people in this room for them to scale at speed the operationalization of their sustainability plan. What would it be? If you were to give like one piece of advice, what would it be? Who wants to start?
Ladies.
No, I think very clear, I mean, especially come from a hard-to-abate industry, for us, it's the license to operate. I mean, if we are not looking into sustainability, I mean, we will have a big issue. And as I said already before, we have already a big issue. And I think also for other industries, to integrate really sustainability into the core strategy. Very often I see, okay, we need to develop a sustainability strategy and then we have a corporate strategy. To me, it really needs to be integrated. So a corporate strategy needs to be sustainable. Yeah. So this would be like one advice. Yeah. And another advice I pointed out also before is really it takes a whole ecosystem. I think no one really can do it alone. And also with all the upcoming regulations, transparency, we really need to look into the entire value chain. And I think also your example was very, very interesting. It's the same for us. And this is really cooperating. And we were just talking about SDGs. This is really the number 17. And I think everybody should have this in their strategy. And as I just can come back to what Mr. Habeck said yesterday, bringing business and climate action together. I think this is it. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we also need to, of course, earn money. Yeah, it is a business case at the end of the day. Because if we are not having sustainable revenues, I mean, we also cannot invest into sustainability. Yeah.
My advice is simply, we just said that the consumer has a lot of power, so engage, ask for sustainable products, choose or go for them. So you will have an impact because the companies have to follow, the business has to follow. So raise your voice and ask for responsibility, sustainability.
I would say from my side, belief, in my role as a role model for my organization, it's belief. If you believe and you see the glass full, you might get this glass full. The issue is so big that you need to do the small things, okay? And try, pilot, believe in the things that will work out. Believe also sometimes in the business cases, have this test and learn approach. But if you don't believe and if you're not positive in my role that we will make it, things will not happen. So start small. Believe, give room for others to act, because I think we passed the time where we understood that it's needed. There is olive bombs in Cologne that stand, so it's time, and you need to go out and say we make it, glass full, believe, nice story, nice pictures, narrative, yeah, and then people will follow, and we need all of us.
You also said and we've got only 2 minutes left, but you also said something quite interesting when we were preparing. Obviously, we need technology to scale up and to get into speed. But you also said, keep in mind those who are producing. So for instance, it's your farmers on the ground, let's say in Colombia or in Kenya. Let's not forget the beneficiaries of those who are really originating the work. And I thought it was a great way of looking at the SDG, looking at the people first, and starting your sustainability plan from there. I thought it was a really nice way of framing it.
Yeah.
Do you want to say something?
No, because this just brought me to the point that, especially investing into new technologies. Yeah, I'm just familiar with sustainable aviation fuels, but this also opens up a lot of new working opportunities, worldwide. If you look, for example, into the fossil fuel production, this is done only in 20 countries in the world. If we are, for example, looking in the creation of sustainable aviation fuel, it could be more or less done in each and every country, and it will provide a lot of jobs. So of course, I know the aviation industry, and I know that there are numbers like 40 million jobs. So this is also part of looking and investing into sustainability, which also opens up other possibilities also in the broader and the global scale.
So to summarize in 23 seconds, I get from you that sustainability goes well beyond net zero, that this is your DNA, that is at the core of a successful business model, but it's a hard game. Definitely, we don't have the answer yet. It requires lots of trial and errors, but we just don't have the choice. We have to go for it. And we should learn from each other, because as you said, you need to work within, obviously, your ecosystem, but you can learn from the different ecosystem, because at the end of the day, everything is interconnected. I hope it was inspiring, and that you will also go through the trial and errors.